Associated corporations. So if you have multiple companies under common control, those are called associated corporations. And the business limits and all that apply. So, I could be like Donald Trump and own 150 companies. That's your rate. As long as they all pay taxes and file tax returns, no problem. But once in aggregate they go over $500,000 taxable income, I start to pay a higher rate of tax. Right? They don't each get their own limit, right, where they pay the lower rate of tax. Otherwise, I'd just keep opening new companies that would never pay a high rate of tax. So they have this idea of association, that this small business limit and the $3 million expenditure limit is to be shared amongst all companies under common control. All right? So one of the things here is watch out for something called de facto control. Yes?
As the new associated rules going to affect this, for sure. I think now they got things where say I have a company and then I have two sub-companies and they receive payments even though this company stays controlled by, has two owners.
Yes.
And these two companies are owned by just one owner each. So they have a new rule where they accept payments, these are not considered associated.
There are certain, without getting too complicated, there are certain exclusions that are being examined, particularly where there's venture capital companies involved, that a venture capital wouldn't be deemed to control it, and other types of exclusions, but that gets very specialized. My answer is, I'm usually not the year-end accountant, so I go with, if Deloitte says they're associated, I say, give me your schedule of 49, and if they filled it out, I just go with whatever. I mean, if they did it wrong, well, sue them, because that's not my criteria, but yeah, the key thing is common control. And control, a good example here is a company called Mimitex Pharmaceuticals. There's a concept of no control. The definition of a CCPC is it's not controlled by any combination of foreign parties or public companies, right? Mimitex Pharmaceuticals was a pharmaceutical company that had one US director who owns 50% of the shares and two Canadian directors that each own 25. So at first, 50-50, no control, lawyers filed a CCPC. However, it became privy during the CRA review that the US director in California during the year had done certain things like fire the head of R&D and replace him with someone else, and a couple other transactions. And the problem is, he didn't say, hey, I want to fire the head of R&D, do one of the two of you concur? He just did it. So the CRA and the Tax Court of Canada said clear evidence of factual control. Even though you don't have voting control, you're in fact in control of the company. You're not a CCPC, you're a foreign-controlled company. You lose your $138,000 of refundable credits. So again, you got to be careful not only how you do it on paper, but what you represent to the government, because they're going to be listening and looking in cases like that for evidence of who really controls it. Okay? So we'll talk about, we don't really have a lot of time, but we can talk about associated companies, related companies, and connected companies. And these all have effects on SR&D and how you can move money from one to another.